don't have. Do we do? Okay. All right. I'll scrub that from my inventory. Living well is dead. I got Marina Cafe for New Year's starting today. And I might have to run it for a couple times, a couple of days this week. International. Yeah. Well, he was dodging drone strikes. Ukraine was shooting drones at Russia, and he got all right about that. But that's not what he got hit by. Russia said birds. He got hit by anti-aircraft fire that the Russians were shooting back at the drones. He was several hundred miles off course. He took evasive action. Okay, we're up. Okay, test. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Why do they always say when people get in front of a microphone at a stage somewhere? Testing 1 2 1 2. Is that as high as they can count?
You got me.
Oh, well,
just follow instruction. Test 1 2.
There you go. Testing 7 4 6.
Yes.
Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
And good morning. I'm Lee Barrels.
And welcome in to Live and Local Real Talk, the beginning of a brand new year.
Not yet, almost, but yeah, I always consider Christmas the end of the year.
This is the dead week after Christmas.
Right.
Yep. Go ahead.
And I'll tell you, there's no traffic on the road this morning. There is some ice on the windshield, a little bit of frozen precipitation. I wouldn't really.
It's 29 degrees out there. Did it get down to 23 last night?
Holy moly. I didn't realize that.
Oh, my. I walked outside one time, and yes, it was kind of on the chilly side. So just admit it, folks. You woke up this morning and thought to yourself, I have an entire 51 weeks before I have to panic and bounce off the walls again, shop till I drop, making sure that everything is ready for Christmas 2025. Hallelujah. We don't have to worry about that.
I think we should have 50% Christmas in July and 50% in December. So you buy one group of people in July and then buy the other group in December.
I think I just need to take a trip down to the islands in December and stay there.
But it seemed to be pretty quiet around Onslow. Thank you very
much. Oh, you just did it.
Oh, I used the Q word. I am so sorry.
That's it.
It seemed to be calm around the area.
Don't say what you.
Yeah, I know. I used the Q word again.
Don't.
I'm not going to say it. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done talking for the morning.
First off, congratulations on surviving another over-commercialized out of hand. I will fess up to succumbing to some of the pressures of the season. We got to get a song out. Pressures of the season.
I'll tell you what.
I'll admit that the real reason for the season escapes me more and more every year. Not because I don't like the reason for the season, because that's what it's supposed to be about. We're going to get back to it, though. Part of it is because it's tough to break traditions. Not talking about the good ones. Those where you spend time with family and friends, watching little children darting here and there, perhaps getting reacquainted with cousins who live so far away that they only visit once a year. The traditions that require increasing amounts of cash just to be able to get through together. Yeah. Gifting is one thing, but the prices of even token gifts have really changed the meaning of Christmas. All of that aside, maybe we as individuals, as families, as neighbors should decide now in time to include it in as a New Year's resolution. See, we got time. We got until next Wednesday to come up with our resolutions. This should be one of them. To back down on the commercialism.
True.
Office parties where gift exchanges are normal, even if a maximum amount for gifts is like 10 or $20, are ridiculous. Okay? That's why a big old office party. Can you imagine going in there and having to pick a gift? What do they call it? White elephants or some kind of gift that you have no idea who's going to get it.
Right.
You just throw them in a big pile and people pick something out of it. How do you pick a gift for something like that? That's not a gift. That's nothing but just picking something so somebody will have something. That's not right. If you're going to blow the money on some corny gift for somebody that you might not even like, why not give that money to the Salvation Army or some other organization, including one of our favorites, Wreaths Across America?
That's right.
You can leave a note and a card telling the intended recipient what you've done. Imagine if that would catch on. World would be a better place. Okay, enough of Christmas. On to our current issues, a new year coming. Yay. The return of a president after what so many of us are learning has been, in the opinions of a growing number of Americans, a disastrous 4 years. We, the people, the majority, the people in this country have suddenly said, holy crap. And I supported that. We have ourselves to blame. We turned our heads, ignored the obvious signs. Maybe we ignored them because the mass media was ridiculing and belittling every one of us who believed some of us now see as the truth. This country is strong. Thank God. Thank our military. But we have been weakened to a point that our future is going to require all of us to agree to move in a common direction of unity. I was watching an episode of a Netflix series called Lioness. That
is an awesome series.
After I started the family noon dinner early, very early, 05:30 early yesterday. Keep in mind that the current episode I was watching was months ago, before the election. That's how TV works, y'all. Morgan Fairchild plays the role of an older U.S. congressman, a man who is meeting with a member of one of our alphabet agencies.
Love him.
A clandestine meeting. They talk about 9/11. They reflect on 9/11. The guy when the alphabet agency was a rookie agent on 9/11, as it turns out. Fairchild's character was referencing, without naming names, the president at the time of the notorious sneak attack on this country. That would have been George Bush. He made note of how the president was able, with an address before Congress, even though he wasn't the most popular president up until then, to unite Americans, the media, and political leaders of both parties. He was proud of how that happened and how the country rallied around the flag. The agent was sitting there, and he responded to not so kind comments that Fairchild's character made about the media of today.
In my opinion, certain news stopped being news when they started doing it 24 hours a day. It became entertainment. Poor form at that.
News that used to be news became entertainment. Became entertainment when it became 24/7. Do you agree with that?
No.
News became entertaining. They were people that were trying to be entertainers.
Well, I believe that news has some element of entertainment, but I kind of feel like over the last 8 years that news is not as trustworthy.
We're going to talk about that. That's when Fairchild's character picks it up. Notes how we, the people, are no longer believing everything that the media is shoving down our throats.
Before long, the court's going to start chanting off with their heads, and they know it. In a decade, no pillar of journalism will exist in its current form. New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal. They stop reporting the news and start telling us what they think the news is. and what our opinion of that news should be. Americans have always been gullible, but they're not stupid. Lied to them enough, and they won't trust you to tell them the sun's rising.
Americans are gullible, he said, but we're not stupid, he said. And when you lie to us enough and we start finally realizing it, which we have been doing over recent times,
Right.
then we won't trust anything you say, including when you tell us that the sun is going to come up at a certain time tomorrow. We won't believe you until we see it. That's where we are today, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
The sooner that we learn to think for ourselves, believe what we're actually watching instead of the spin that the media puts on it, the more likely that this country will survive and grow. Fairchild's character blasted the Biden administration without calling names, but it was obvious. Noted that he's looking forward to a new president if we get one. Remember, this was shot, recorded, filmed, videoed, whatever they do it these days,
Right.
before the election.
Wow.
He was predicting there would be a new president at that time.
Interesting.
We watch TV news. I don't believe people are believing what the networks are giving us. I know that. Even though there seems to have been a shift in their operations these days. And luckily, I think that fewer Americans really trust the crap they're reading from people that may or may not even exist on social media. And so many podcasts that are out there with names that they're not real names. They're just non-existent people that you've never seen before in your lives, people that did not exist, and they come up with the name Johnny Bubba, but check, whatever. And to come out with a podcast.
And there's
No
quite
accountability.
a few. There's quite a few.
They use fake names.
Because
So
you
they're
know,
fakes.
I watch a lot of podcasts. I'll come across some and I'll start watching them. And YouTube is full of news, but it's people who like, I think I'm going to sit down and start a podcast show and do news. But what you don't realize is just all their opinions. And then they start spreading conspiracy theories. So you have to really be careful of where you go and what you listen to, because I have found podcasts on YouTube, different channels where it was factual. I believe it's factual because the person is not leaning one way or the other. They stay right in the middle and they're just presenting. And when they present a subject, they're pulling in all sorts of information from other news sources.
Sure.
And then I've seen podcasts where the host, the creator, whatever, is spinning some of the most ridiculous stuff I've ever heard. But you know, national news has gotten just as bad, in my opinion.
Well, it has been. It is just as bad.
I quit watching it unless something huge heard and a big, huge news story that involves mayhem or whatever.
You better check multiple sources,
But-
whatever is there.
Point taken, because this morning I came in and you brought up a subject
We'll talk about that in
which
just a
we're going to
second, too.
talk about in a few minutes. And what I heard on the news this morning is entirely different from what you heard on the
The
news.
latest news is something different.
So I went in there and I went to what I feel is a reliable news page. And you were absolutely right. But yet what I heard on television news this morning was not the same. It was entirely different.
Yeah,
See,
I'll give you both of the stories
Yes.
together. And we can all suppose whatever is whatever. But anyway, but news, podcasts, I don't mind podcasts. As long as you put them out there. It's
no,
your
we
opinion.
do one every morning.
We got a really good friend who does a podcast.
Yes.
And but he's got credentials.
Yes, he does.
Here's a difference.
And I've watched just about every one of his.
Here's a difference in people who do podcasts and people who do podcasts. Some have actual credentials. They've lived a life. They may be retired, as this gentleman is. He's a retired federal agent. He worked
Right.
in the system. He was a Marine. He is a Marine.
Very
He
knowledgeable,
was active
yes.
duty Marine in the 1960s. He's a survivor of the Tet Offensive. My God. how else can you get more reliable than people like
Sure.
this? Okay. And he retired as a federal agent.
He's also a book author.
And he's an author.
He's written many books.
He's written works of fiction that, as my sister asked me one time, and so I asked him when she read one of his books. He called Dirty Boys, and she called me one time. She was on her way wherever, and she said, "Is this all real?" And I said, "Well, as he told me, yes, bits and pieces of it are real.
Right.
Almost all of it's real, but it's taken from different chapters of my life. But he wrote it as a work of fiction.
Right.
But the guy's got credibility,
Yes.
and I believe." If there's one person out there in the world of podcasting that I believe is going to be him.
Yes.
Him. I don't know
exactly.
any others. And I watch the YouTube stuff. I like to watch on there some technical stuff. I go
Yes.
to amateur radio sites. Okay.
Yes.
And there are 1,762,317 different people on amateur radio offering opinions.
Mm-hmm.
But they're offering it as facts. Well, it's factual to them because this is the way I did it.
Right.
So that's fine. It's all technical stuff.
That's right.
But do you know how many ways there are to build a vertical antenna? 1,762,317.
Okay.
Okay, the same antenna. But there are that many ways to do it, and all of them are all right, according to the people who build them.
Right.
So that's fine. I have no problem with that, but it's their project. And okay, this is one that might work for me in my backyard or me on my roof. I'll give that sucker a try. Because in the world of amateur radio, we like to experiment. That's one of the rules. You have to like to experiment.
Well,
But there are people out there
Excuse me.
experimenting with theories about what occurred. Well, that's okay as long as you say this is what I think, or if you want to rely on some other quote unquote experts, their opinions, and experts have opinions too. You know what an expert is?
mhm.
And in the English language, and when you took things like English in high school, they told you to break down, right?
Right.
I break down experts. X is a has-been, spurt is a big drip. Expert. That's what you break it down to be.
Okay.
Tragedy in the sky. This is the story you were talking about. At least
Yes.
3 dozen people, 38, I think is the final total, killed when an Azerbaijan airliner crashed
Okay.
on its way to Russia. The plane was several hundred miles off course when it crashed in Kazakhstan. Happened yesterday, Christmas Day. 29 people miraculously survived the crash. The crash came shortly after drone strikes started hitting southern Russia on Christmas Day. I guess where those drone strikes were coming from. It wasn't from the United States. Drone activity has shut airports in the area over the past, and the nearest Russian airport on the plane's flight path was closed Wednesday morning because of the incoming drone strikes. The pilot took evasive actions. He headed somewhere else, several hundred miles off of his projected course. He crossed the Caspian Sea. What's billed as Russia's aviation watchdog said it was an emergency that may have been caused by a bird strike. Howsoevermore, aviation security firm Osprey Flight Solutions said the flight was, their words, likely shot down by a Russian military air defense system. They were shooting at the drones trying to take them out.
Phew.
Ukrainian national security official also blamed a Russian air defense for that crash. Both pilots were killed. 2 children were among the survivors. There were no Americans on board. Video showed the plane descending rapidly after crossing the Caspian Sea, crashing on the shore on the opposite side, then bursting into flames. Survivors, many of them bloody, could be seen walking from the tail section, which remained mostly intact after separating from the main fuselage. Those of you who like to fly, there have been many tail sections to survive, to remain intact upon impact after a plane goes in.
Yes, I did see that a video, and it's amazing to me that the whole plane didn't engulf in flames. It's just the front section of the plane
It's
is like
because
gone.
the back section, the tail section, separated.
Right.
was
That's
separate
what I'm
on the
saying.
ground.
Yes, it's like the whole front part of the plane just somewhere else. And
Yep.
unfortunately, there were deaths, but fortunately, a lot of people survived because of the way it landed. So,
Why does anyone think it's a good idea to sneak into the wheel well of an airliner? It's happened again.
Oh, tell me.
And the results are like virtually all other such cases. The flight originated in Chicago.
Oh my
And when it
gosh.
landed in Hawaii, the body of the person was discovered.
Yeah.
It has not been revealed whether it's a male or female. No name has been associated with the body. The plane was a United Airlines 787, big plane. The only way to gain access to the wheel well is from outside the plane. You can't get there from inside the plane. Even if you came prepared for sub-zero temps, of which there will be flying at 35,000 feet, unless you had a whole bunch of oxygen, you were not going to survive a flight from Chicago to Hawaii. I don't care how warm you made it. You're not going to live without oxygen above 10,000 feet.
The pressure alone.
What are you thinking? There have been a lot of stowaways like that. You know that, right?
Oh, yes.
Why? Where do they think they're going to go?
You know, if you're going to stow away and something like, you need to do your research at least, because
flying with a wheel well is not a good way to do it.
No, it's pure suicide. Look back a couple years ago, where was it? At one of those places where people were trying to escape and they were jumping on the wings of this one plane getting ready to take off.
Yeah,
it was a military plane.
Yes.
Yes.
That's happened on many occasions.
I mean, you think you're actually going to get on the wing of a plane and hold on? Well,
no, those planes, some of those military planes, cargo planes are going to be flying 300, 400, 500 miles an hour.
I'll just hold on. Right.
No, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Something about flying during the holidays, from drunks in the airports who are banned from flying and kicked out of the terminal, to this crazy story about a wing walking woman. I found them, Nona.
Oh, I have to hear this.
A female to route off an Alaska Airlines plane after it Seattle Sunday evening, just after 5:00 p.m. Port of Seattle Emergency Dispatch was alerted to a situation. I love the way they put it. At a gate connected to arriving Alaska Airlines Flight 323. During the deplaning of the aircraft, people were getting off, right? Walking up the aisle, headed for the exit.
Right.
During that process, a female passenger on board became anxious and opened the emergency exit over the wing.
Why would you do?
The woman then climbed out onto the wing of the airplane. She should not have been flying in the first place.
No.
It reminded me the whole time I was reading this of that Shatner character.
Captain Kirk.
William Shatner.
Yes.
When he was flying, it was a Twilight Zone episode, flying, and he had just been released after being treated for anxiety and whatever. And he sees in flight, he sees a subject, obviously some kind of an alien on the airplane wing while they were in flight on a dark and stormy night, beating on the wing with a hammer.
Dumb.
That's what this reminded me of. Anyway, the woman climbed out onto the wing. The Port of Seattle Fire Department responded, helped her off the aircraft wing down to the ramp. The Port Police crisis team responded and decided to send the passenger to the hospital for evaluation. No one was hurt, thank God, and normal operations were not even interrupted. A lot of stories to tell, no doubt. I want to see the video. There's got to be somebody on that airplane with a camera shooting video.
It'll be out soon. It'll be TikToks on it.
Golly,
But, obviously she was overserved on the plane. I mean,
probably not
how
over a plate. Probably before she got there. But
you would
let's
have
describe her
to
as being
be
anxious.
inebriated. You'd have to be drunk to get out and do something
Thank
like
God
that.
she didn't
Good
try to
Lord.
open that door. I don't think you can.
Yeah,
While the plane was in
mid-flight.
flight. Can you imagine that one? That one would have been a sudden change to the day.
Wow.
Ever thought about it? Can you open those from the inside while the plane's in motion?
I would hope not.
I would too, because there are people on planes who fly who probably should not be flying.
Oh, yes, exactly.
They got too much anxiety going on. The marine forecast for the final week of 2024 brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. The stress of getting ready for Christmas, buying and exchanging gifts is over. Now, for many of us, comes the time to work on paying off those credit card bills that you racked up. That's one big stress for a large number of Americans, spending beyond their means. And Christmas is a great time to do that. Thinking that the coming new year is going to give us a chance to start afresh is about as realistic as world peace. Then before you know it, here come the utility bills. A rather cold December, by the way, will mean even higher bills. Don't forget that you'll get hit with your local property tax bills shortly. It just never seems to end, does it?
No.
For those on fixed incomes like retirement plans or Social Security, you may see a cost of living increase this year, what you call a COLA, cost of living adjustment, less than 3% for Social Security recipients. The cost of living increase, adjustment they call it, for 2025 is less than 3%. Every one of us can attest to our cost of living jumping a lot more than 3% in the past year, right?
Right.
Financial stress is a real thing for Americans. The extremely small percentage of rich people who don't concern themselves with these sorts of issues, the numbers are very, very small. We can't do anything about the big bills. There may be some management plans to explore that. What you can do is to work on the stress levels. Some of that may include financial management, of course, but the first thing is to seek counseling to handle the actual stress. You might want to start with Community Prevention Services, LLC, right here in Jacksonville. Their staff of trained and experienced counselors can help you work with controlling your stress while you get help with the financial issues. It's a two-factor thing here going. Give them a call at your earliest convenience. You may as well get the year started right. Community Prevention Services is open next Monday and Tuesday, and then will resume regular weekly hours on Monday the 6th. Their number, 910-353-0972. That's 910-353-0972. If you care to leave a message, you can do so. At the sound of the tone, they do have a voicemail system. A cool high-pressure system moves in from the north and will remain in place through the remainder of this week. The high will shift offshore by the weekend as a frontal system approaches and brings unsettled weather Sunday into Monday. Yay. Offshore out to 20 nautical miles today. A small craft advisory is in effect through this evening. Northeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots with gusts at 30, seas 3 to 5 feet, except 2 to 3 near shore. Sounds and rivers choppy. Tomorrow, northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet, sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Saturday, pretty much the same, except the wind's going to switch around to the southeast, 5 to 10 knots, kind of mild, seas 2 to 4 feet, sounds and rivers, a light chop.
And today will be partly sunny with a high near 55, northeast wind 5 to 8 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 36. Friday, partly sunny with a high near 60. Friday night, partly cloudy with a low around 46. And Saturday, chance of afternoon showers, partly sunny with a high near 72. Get out the flip-flops.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I'll wear mine pretty much year-round anyway. Just add a pair of socks and you're good.
Oh, really? So you dress up with flip-flops by putting on socks?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's informal wear then.
It's
Okay, what you guys plan for your New Year's? We want to hear from you. How was your
Yes.
Christmas? What are your New Year's plans? 910-333-0139. Our year is our number is still here, the same one, 333-0139. We appreciate all of y'all who've stayed with us throughout this year, a rather tumultuous year for us again. We're still working on trying to do even better as far as reaching more and more and more of y'all and making it more convenient for you to listen to us. So hang in there. I'm going to reach out today, tomorrow, see if I can't find. If y'all know a good software person who can actually load software and understand how to make this software talk to that software, even it's designed to do that. But I can't. I've got a mental block when it comes to those
that's
things.
my son-in-law because he used to write software programs.
Yeah, well, I want to see. I want to talk. I want someone to come in here, sit down, and just say, "I'll fix it," and then get up a few minutes later and it's done. Because that's about how long it takes a fifth.
Point all you have to do is hit this button.
That's all I want. Click. Do this. I can do that.
Right.
I can do a lot of technical stuff. I don't mind that. I like to be able to walk onto a transmitter, like a broadcast transmitter.
Yes.
While it's putting out 1,000 watts, 5,000 watts, 10,000 watts. What is sending all that out to an antenna, right?
Right.
I like this transmitter to be so big that I can open the doors on it, bypass the interlock switches because that's what they've got.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. Used to open the door and everything was shut down, so nobody got electrocuted. Well, me, I just bypass that interlock and walk on in there and sit down. Take a stool with me.
Right.
And then I work on the things that I need to work on, make adjustments. That's the kind of stuff I like to do.
Yes.
I wouldn't dare climb a pole where they got 17,000 volts hanging around up there, even though I'm working on maybe 8 or 10,000 volts. There's not a whole lot of difference if you get zapped by either one of them. But I cannot imagine climbing a utility pole with those little spikes in there.
Right. Oh.
Do you know those guys climbing quite often? Well, quite often, periodically, that spike will come loose and they will slide all the way down that pole.
Well, I give them.
Trying to hold on.
Wishing the best.
Splinters everywhere.
Gosh.
Ooh. But anyway, I could not imagine me doing something like that up there. And they may have 3 wires they're working with. No, I don't want to do that. That's up in the air.
Right.
No,
right.
Nah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I used to be able to. I think as the older you get, the less likely you are to do things like that.
Stupid things.
Yeah, stupid things. And this has been a while back, but I decided to get on my roof to do something. I forget. But I got up there and I'm sitting there thinking,
how do I get down?
Now I've got to get down. And I
that ladder's moving. You're thinking,
well, I'm thinking I've got to turn around backwards and come down that ladder and hope it doesn't shift. And I sat there for the longest time thinking, when my neighbors think I'm crazy, the fire department shows up. But I finally calmed myself down and came down the ladder and swore I would never do that again.
Did you live through it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's good.
I'm here today to tell the story.
Yeah, I've got a couple of poles up here on this roof that I've got to get up there and put some covers on them.
Right.
And the only thing I'm thinking, I could put the ladder up there and climb up that ladder. And I'm thinking about that ladder moving and shifting and doing stuff too. I said, well, you know what? If I can practice in the days when I was a kid,
right,
and play like Roy Rogers.
Yeah, I used to climb trees as a kid.
Play like Roy. I did that too, and play like Roy Rogers and lasso one of those poles.
Yes.
Okay. And then run the line down and tie it to the ladder.
Right. Well,
and make sure I got 4 people down below, 2 of them holding a net to catch me, 2 of them holding the ladder to keep it from moving.
Just know those days for me are well over.
Yeah, I know. And it's a metal roof, and it's only a slight
Mine
slope.
was a metal roof too.
It's just a very slight slope. But
mine had the regular house slope, but I even took my shoes off so as it's a metal roof, and your feet on the metal roof, it's easier to grip than wearing a pair of shoes. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
No. But mine would slide because it'd be sweating.
But but see, and another stupid thing is I had nobody with me. I was all by myself.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
So don't do that either.
Nope, not at all.
That's dumb.
And I kind of got over wanting to get up there on the roof and do this work here because there was a guy down in Bonaire. He was a transplant. He was from New Jersey, and He ran a dive shop and had a couple of rooms there that he rented out and stuff like that. Been there forever, since probably the 70s. And he was famous in Skin Diver magazine because he always had an ad.
Mhm.
And in his swimming pool, he always had Dalmatians, and he would let the Dalmatians swim in the pool. It was
Aw.
cool, and it was part of the pictures and stuff that were there. His name was Bruce Bowker, and he did his own little woodworking. He did all sorts of repair. You got to do that when you live in places like that. So he had a table saw set up in his little shop, and he cut 2 fingers off one day. Okay.
Ouch.
So that's I had known him before, and then I knew him after that, of course. And then I always go there. We'd always had chats, and I bought a lot of good stuff from him over the decades. And then I read one day that he's dead. He
Oh.
was up making repairs, and he fell off the roof and broke his neck.
Oh.
And that
Oh.
happened just a
Oh.
very few years ago. I'm like, okay, up on the roof. No, I find people who know what they're doing. He was as old as I am.
Well, I'm going to go to Lowe's
Mhm.
this weekend.
Does they have people that climb roofs over there?
No, but I don't know. Everything is contracted out, but I'm going to
Yeah.
buy one of those step stools with the back on it. You know what I'm talking? That's got like a handle.
You mean like the one Robbie has up here?
Yeah. So instead of just stepping on a ladder that has nothing
You
else,
got a railing to hold
you've
on
got
to.
a railing to hold
They're
on
good.
to.
I
So
like
yeah,
those.
I'm at that point in my life now.
Well, we got a couple of filters in here that have to be changed that are up at the
Right.
very top of a 9 by 10-foot tall ceiling.
Oh goodness.
Okay, so I was doing this using a 4-foot ladder because it's nice and
That
convenient.
sounds
and easy.
like me.
And climb on
Yes.
top of the 4-foot ladder.
Yes.
Well, I'm 6 feet tall, so that put me up there.
Yes.
Guess what?
Mhm.
Plenty of height to reach up there over my
Right.
head and unscrew that little knob. But I'm balancing on the top thing that it says "Do not step here,"
God, that sounds like me. Yes.
and I balance, and I haven't fallen yet. But the more and more I said, this is stupid. So I went to
Right.
the big box store,
Right.
and I came back with the same kind of 4-foot ladder that I had, except it was 2 feet taller.
Right.
Now I don't have to climb.
Does
to the
it have
top.
like the handle?
No, and I
on?
don't need to. I don't need that once I get up there because I still got the ladder I'm holding on to.
Oh
I'm not-
yes, very
I'm
good.
not getting onto the top
Very
of it
good.
anymore. Don't need to. But
Well,
anyway, I get
my
up there,
light,
changed it this weekend. Changed it either yesterday or Christmas Eve. I forgot which.
my
No
light in the
problem.
hallway is out, and I was going to get the little 4-foot ladder because I hate getting the great big ladder down and then
Nah.
having.
I strongly recommend
not
getting
changed it yet.
a 6 ladder. Get a decent one, and don't take it outside and leave it. Indoor stuff.
Yes,
And put it in the garage.
and I have one.
A light aluminum type thing.
Yes.
Okay, but use that. That's all right.
I know, but
Don't do any hot wiring up there on light fixtures
no.
on an aluminum ladder. When I worked for an electrical contractor, he
Right.
would not allow aluminum ladders, and we didn't have fiberglass in those days.
Mine is fiberglass, but the steps are aluminum.
Well, it's a little lighter, but it's not light enough.
Right.
But you'll get older, and then you'll find out you can lose some weight by getting rid of some of that heavy ladder. You want to buy a fiberglass ladder from Lee? She's got one with aluminum steps.
No, I love my ladder. It's seen the years. It's got so many paint colors on it. It's not. It's
Well, anyway, he would not, the electrical contractor would not allow aluminum ladders because we always were working on something that was hot.
right.
Aluminum makes us a really nice ground.
Yes.
And he said, if you're up there and you happen to hit something hot and you got a wooden ladder, you're not going to go to ground with it. It would be a very high resistance move. So that's what we did.
Hmm.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
his
Oh, no, no.
rationale. And I couldn't find, we got these little light ladders. We could buy the No. He said,
No,
not
no.
allowed. Not on my shop.
This comes from a retired government employee. He said, Rayford broke OSHA regulations by standing on the top.
I did.
How often do we all do that though?
Statute of limitations has expired, Mr. Federal Inspector. Do
I
you
mean-
have any witnesses, or was I lying? I could have been lying then, or am I lying now?
Well,
Have
we've
you
all
ever lied
done
before in your life?
we've all
Mr.
done crazy stuff.
Mr. Federal Guy, have you ever lied before in your life? Oh, you have. Then why do I think you're telling the truth now?
Well, he's actually very correct.
So what?
So I mean,
All I'm here is to
he's just
discredit
messing on
him.
you.
I'm just here to discredit.
He's just messing on you because I
I'm
know this
messing with him,
person.
too.
But I tell you, Once again, being in management at the post office, I had to give a lot of OSHA safety talks.
Uh-huh.
And how many times you give these talks, or then you start talking about emergency preparedness, like getting ready for those bad storms that have a chance of coming between June and November. And a storm comes and you're sitting at home with no batteries to put into your stuff because you forgot, but yet you just drilled it in all your employees every day. Make sure you do this and that. And then, so it
That's
happens.
when you have to go to work where you got batteries in your
And how many
devices.
times, like when you teach hearing conservation and you're at home and you've got everything full blast, volume open.
Huh?
It's just, or how many times when you go out to mow the yard, are you wearing eye protection?
You mean when Robbie goes out to mow the lawn, does she wear eye? Usually mows the
See,
lawn.
we all break the rules every day. I wouldn't say the rules, but safety, when it comes to safety, do we all follow the things that we should? No.
Let me tell you how ridiculous some of the OSHA rules will be.
All right.
Back before there was a traffic light at the intersection of the country club intersection where the medical facility is there now.
That's where I've
And
had my only accident. Somebody hit me.
It was not an accident.
A wreck. I'm sorry.
And there was the country club, the golf course up there,
Right.
right? Well, we had a sheriff at the time who had attended an early morning meeting, as they do, and he was coming out of that location, and somebody had a wreck right there at that intersection. Well, he called it in, of course. He's in his car. He called it in, then he gets out to direct traffic to assist them.
Mhm.
Some dude, a local inspector with OSHA, drives by and sees him, goes back down to the sheriff's office and writes him a citation for not having a safety vest on out there directing traffic. That went viral. That was about 2000 and maybe 10 or 11, something like that. Sheriff Brown at the time, I heard about it. I had to
Let's
talk
not
to
talk
him
about
about it.
what Sheriff Brown used to do.
Well, that's what he did. He was the one directing traffic,
Oh,
and he got the citation from the inspector.
but
drove by.
but
There's no buts to it. How many times have I gotten out of a vehicle, a personal vehicle, and directed traffic or done whatever?
sure.
All the time.
I have a neighbor around the corner that he has a traffic vest in his vehicle.
I do now.
And if traffic is ever needed to be directed, you'll see him out there doing it on his own.
Mhm.
I'm
Wow.
like, brave soul.
Well, I stopped in Myrtle Beach coming back on the bypass one year, and Robbie and I were coming back from Charleston, and it was a heck of a mess out there. And they only had one traffic officer, one police officer had shown up.
Right.
He wasn't even there when I stopped, so that's how fresh that wreck was. So I got out and I was directing traffic because I actually in those days I used to carry a flashlight that had a red cone on top of
Oh,
it for
yes.
directing traffic.
Oh, my
I had one
gosh.
of
They
those.
still
believe it
have
or not,
those?
I guess they do. I probably still have it somewhere.
Wow.
But I had that and I was out directing traffic with that. And he got there and he said, and I wasn't a cop at the time, and he said, I don't know how you're doing this, but you got this traffic moving. I said, you got it. But
I
anyway,
detest
so I kept doing
doing
it while
traffic control.
he actually got up and thanked me for it after the fact, which is usually they're too busy to do that, which I understand.
Yes.
Been there too. But anyway, okay, guys, you've got something. We want to talk to you. We got another hour and 20 minutes to
Well,
talk.
our
this morning.
friend that made the comment about you breaking OSHA rules,
Come on, bring it on.
he has admitted that he stood on the top of a 10-foot ladder
Oh, that's
in the
even high.
landing of a stairwell. See, when I say we all know the correct way, but we all do it our way.
We all
We don't
cut
think
corners.
that we're going to fall off a ladder. We don't think about mowing the
Come on.
yard and something bouncing up, a twig and hitting us in the eye. I've seen people out push mowing wearing flip flops.
That
Why would
will
you do
really
that?
ruin your ankles.
So, weed eating. Don't wear shorts and not wear some socks, some high socks and boots or something while you're weeding because that will
Hazmat's
tear your
good.
legs up.
Yeah, hazmat is a good suit
Yes.
with long johns on.
I usually have my yard boots or what. I usually wear long pants when I'm weed eating
Mhm.
because it will tear you up.
It will.
It's ouch, ouch, ouch.
There are all those little briars of stuff that are out there.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's so many things that we all do on a regular basis that we just don't even,
You
we
stood on the
know
top
better.
of a 10-foot ladder.
10-foot
That's a
ladder.
lot worse than my 4-foot ladder, isn't it?
In the
That's-
landing of a stairwell. Now, where did that ladder had fall? Now, were you on
He had-
top of the stairs?
He probably
Tom?
had us suspending the opening there on the stairwell, and he's on top of a 10-foot ladder on the top of that. Oh, that could get really nasty.
That's like these people that have the houses with the real tall ceilings, and
You have to
you-
change the light bulbs.
I would have lamps all over the house because there's no way I'm going to go change a light bulb.
Why would you put lights in the ceiling like
I
that?
don't know.
Not
Why
going
do
to do
people
it.
do that?
You seen those guys with the poles? They reach up there and they can unscrew them. They got some of the commercial places have that.
Yes, I've seen those.
Then I've seen the commercial places. They have a little forklift inside,
Right.
and they'll drive around that forklift, look for bulbs that are out, make notes of them, and come back with that forklift and shoot all the way up there to change the bulbs.
I want a forklift.
I do too.
That
I
would
want
be
one of
cool.
I really want a little bucket truck, a bucket lift. I don't have to be a truck.
I don't, yeah, that sounds good to me. It's just like this year I ended up having a professional company paint my house
Mhm.
because I've done it for the last 20 something years myself, little bits, parts here and there. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it
Yeah,
anymore.
not gonna do it.
Plus the fact I needed some wood in the fascia boards,
Yeah.
changed out. And they did an excellent, excellent job because I just said, I'm done with climbing ladders, trying to paint eaves, trying to replace something.
So how many
I'm done
times did
with
you
it.
put up 2-step ladders and like a 2x8 in between them on the steps? And
Yeah.
they might not have been even. And then you crawl up
What?
on top of that and use that as
No.
a scaffolding. You never did that?
No.
Oh.
No, I've done some crazy stuff and jury rigged a lot of stuff, but you get to a certain point in your life, you realize
I
that
should like to be one
you
of
could
those.
break a hip or
I
something.
would like to be one of those window washers up in New York that
No.
they have that thing lifting over the side and they lower it up and down. Huh?
Mm,
And sometimes one end will slip and
no.
How
Have
many-
you ever watched 911?
yeah. Some of the rescues.
All of that
Yeah,
you've been
no.
talking, it's been on that show. And I'm like, yeah, I might have done that 20 years ago, but
I like sea level or below. I don't like above sea level if I can help it. Not even 5 feet.
what is your most feared way of dying?
Burning, probably.
That's one of mine. I have two.
Mhm.
Plunging off a bridge in your car into the water and drowning and then burning in a
But there's the
fire.
possibility, if you carry the right knife, once that car hits and as before it actually sinks, you can open
Right.
the door.
Well, once again, we
Open the
don't wear
door.
protection when we mow the yard. So why would I have something like that in my vehicle?
Well, you can roll the window down, and also as is.
What if it's electric?
Well, the initials SOL come to mind here. Okay. But anyway, but carry something that you can actually break a window glass,
Right.
even if you're trapped in a wreck.
You say that, and somewhere in the stores recently, I saw a safety kit that you can carry in your vehicle, and it had one of those tools to break your window with, the little tool.
Yeah.
And I was like, I do not like bridges. So,
This is a pocket knife, right?
right.
On this end of it, right here, feel that.
Oh,
The very tip.
oh, yes.
That's there to break windows.
Oh, well, maybe that's all I need is a knife like that.
Yeah.
Now we know about
And
the
the
broken windows.
other part of it, you open the blade, it's got half of a serrated edge.
Right.
I bought this so I could cut seat belts in a hurry if I need to, as a police officer.
Maybe I should
That's how
start
long.
carrying
That's
it in
how
my
old this knife
vehicle.
is.
Now, if I have a knife like that and I have it in my compartment between the seats, am I going to get arrested
Nope.
for carrying a concealed
That's
weapon? I
not a
didn't think
concealed
so.
weapon. I carried it in my pocket. It's not a concealed weapon.
I didn't think so, but I'm not up to date on the recent laws like that. I know guns, but I have a permit for that. So,
Yeah.
yes.
That's amazing. I can carry a 44 Magnum in a shoulder holster.
Right.
I can carry actually my 223 really short 300. I don't have a 223 short. I got a 300 blackout that's short. It's classified as a pistol. I've
Right.
got a shotgun that's about this long. It's called a Shockwave. That's classified as a handgun.
Right.
I can carry a handgun concealed.
Why is that considered a handgun?
I don't know because it's not a shotgun. If it's a shotgun, it'd have to have a barrel length of at least 18 inches and then overall length of 26 inches, of which this doesn't. But I can carry those concealed with a concealed carry permit. Howsoever more, I can't carry that walking cane over there, walk down the street with it because it has a concealed blade that's about 18 inches long.
Does that make sense?
Not at all.
Just store. Could you walk into like
You cannot,
grocery
you
store?
cannot walk, you have, that will be classified as carrying a concealed weapon because it is a concealed weapon.
418? We have a suspicious man in the store carrying a weapon. Yeah.
Some of our laws. Oh God! It was on the books and way back when.
Yes.
Not too many decades.
We
ago,
read some of those
that you
crazy
could not-
laws that are still on the books.
that it required a permit in North Carolina to purchase what they called a pump action shotgun. When
That's what I
when
want.
pump shotguns first came out, they were repeaters and they fired, kind of rapidly.
Right.
You could pump it fast, right? As opposed to a good old single barrel or a double barrel.
Yeah.
And then, or a bolt action. But because those required, but these could be fired so fast that at one time in North Carolina, you had to have a permit to buy it. Now, you see this little thing over here is called a dagger, right?
Right.
This little knife is a dagger. You also had to have a permit to purchase a dagger.
But you can carry a steak knife around.
Uh-huh.
Say, I just took it with me because I'm going out to eat and I prefer my own steak knife.
That's what that is a thing. I mean, I carry, sometimes when I go on trips, I carry a kit that's got my knives in it. If I'm going to be eating and carving up my own stuff there.
Talking about eating, who all's ordering pizza tonight?
I did that on Christmas Eve.
I almost did.
I was out and about and I called Robbie. I said, I want pizza. How do you want yours?
See, I almost did that, but it was like later in the evening. And I thought, it's Christmas Eve. I'm not going to everything's probably shut down early. So I'll get by. But
I just wanted pizza that day. And I didn't eat, I think, but one piece. I've still got pizza in the refrigerator. So
I love
probably have
leftover.
that today. I got enough leftovers in that refrigerator, these refrigerators, to last us a week.
Is that prime rib that you cooked? Is that all sliced up?
Nope.
Darn.
I don't slice it up. Robbie and I came to that agreement, and I can
Makes
slice
it hard
and
for
it's
thieves.
rare.
It makes it hard for
You
those who want
want
to
to slice
steal
the prime
a
rib?
piece.
It's just a matter of taking it out of the fridge and putting
my
the knife
gosh.
to it, and there you go. Tell me how thick
You
want it.
talked about that this morning, how you cooked it, how
No,
tasty it was,
it's
and the au jus that you made with it.
Yum.
And I'm like,
Oh, yum.
it sounds so good.
And I still have 5 ribs intact that are wrapped in tinfoil that I started cooking after I seasoned them. And I will finish cooking those when I'm ready to eat them.
It sounds delicious.
And they will be so tender. Anyway,
Very good. Very good.
I'll be weighing 400 pounds when this is over with. I'm glad I got all my
Well,
weight. And
there you go. Now you'll have a New Year's resolution that you're going to make about losing weight, getting in shape, and who actually makes the
I
resolutions and
try.
through on
The
them?
first question I would ask you don't lie to people, right?
Depends. I'll be honest. Depends.
Okay, let's say, how about Steve? How about Theo? Theo, Steve, Mike, you out there? Do you ever lie? Have you ever lied? Do you lie? Have you ever made a New Year's resolution?
I quit making them years ago because
Because you lied.
why lie to yourself? You know you're not going to do it.
So you lied.
I just I have things that I want to get done and accomplish, but I don't do it as a resolution.
They're already talking about 2028. The Republicans are thinking about, they're looking forward, which they should be thinking
Yeah,
about
I agree.
it. The Democrats should have been thinking about it for the last at least 3 years.
Yes.
Knowing that they will run. Because
Right.
if Biden had run all the way through, it was going to be over anyway. And they put Kamala in there, and it was, well, what were you thinking? you at least stood a chance with Biden, with the sympathizers. Ah, goodness gracious. And by the way, I could get away with pretty much anything these days.
Right.
I like standing on the top of the ladder.
Right.
All they would do, they wouldn't arrest me for it. They wouldn't charge me with it. I could use the same excuse that those who did the examination of Joe Biden when they were talking about him violating laws. Well,
Right.
the sympathy would be there. I mean, he's just an elderly man and he forgets things a lot. That would be the excuse that I can use. I'm old and I forget. What?
That's right. Oh, yes. Oh, well, I don't know if you could use that excuse in everything,
Yes, again.
but it might fly.
Yes, it would. It'd be fun. Not a problem.
It might fly.
Okay, what else we got cooking, y'all? Where are you?
They're all still sleeping from all that food they ate
The
yesterday.
phone's working. I mean,
Oh, you better check them. Uh-oh.
that one looks like it's working.
Oh,
That
okay.
was working.
Phew.
That's just a dial tone signal. So, if you want to chat, what are your plans for the new year? New Year resolution? How was your Christmas? That's what I'd like to hear.
Right.
How
Any
did you
good
do?
Christmas stories?
Yeah.
Any good Christmas stories on cooking the meal? There's always something goes wrong.
Did the dog get into your food? Has your dog ever attacked your food while you're in the preparation stages? Like grab the turkey or the ham or the prime rib and run off
My
with
dogs
it?
aren't big enough. They're small dogs.
Uh-huh.
Oh, let's talk about dogs though. Good Lord. I've got 2 dogs
Mhm.
and I'm watching my sister's dogs. And I always buy my dogs and cats presents.
And did they ever send you a thank you note?
They give me doggy kisses, but it did not take long for the toys that were not dog proof to be all over the house.
Oh.
They love to tear it and tear them and rip them and
The
get.
toys that were not dog proof. Why would you buy them toys that are not
Because
dog proof?
not always can you find well, first of all, I've never bought a toy that my rat terrier cannot get through. That dog can get through concrete. But of course, there was like fiber. There was just like stuff everywhere. I'm still picking it up. But they had such a good time. But I didn't tell you the story about the cat. Well, it's hard to buy cat toys, especially when they're old. So I got him these 2 little furry play birds that had catnip in them.
Why didn't you get real ones?
No,
It'd be a better challenge. That
no,
way.
we've been through all that before with him bringing in birds. Well, I also got some spray. It's like little catnip spray.
Mhm.
And so I put just a little bit on each toy. And it was like 10 minutes later, I go into the kitchen. He's up on the counter and he's licking the top to the dog treats dish. I think my cat was high. and then so like I'm like, get down off the counter and I have to clean everything and do all that.
His eyes were crossed.
And then he just comes into the living room. He's sitting there staring at me with this stoned look. I think there was
Glassy
like
eyes.
TCP or whatever in the catnip spray.
TCP.
Yeah,
PCP.
no TCP.
What's
But anyway,
TCP?
it's a derivative from marijuana. But anyway, he was just like all
THC.
crazy. No, this is a different one. You can look it up. It'll tell you. But anyway,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Just aggravating.
So this morning when I went to feed him, I walked out of the room, came back in, and his tummy was sick, evidently. So I had to clean all that up. But I think I got my cat high in just an instant. So be careful with the catnip,
calling
people.
on cars. We
Be
got
careful with the catnip.
stoned cat over here.
Because he was just like, "Nyeh," and
There's the
his,
stone ponies, right?
yeah.
Remember that group?
That
Oh.
happened to my dog one time, my basset hound. It
There
involved
was a group called Stone Ponies.
yes, I did.
Singing group.
Okay, but I got my basset drunk one time. It
Oh,
was
really?
by accident.
Yeah, I heard that one before.
That was left a mixed drink. I forget who was with me. There was a mixed drink on the counter, and little did we realize the
Got
basset
into the
hound
liquor?
got into it.
Oh,
The dog was drunk.
How old was the dog?
Probably 4 or 5 at the time. He lived till he was 18, so I was a good dog
That's
mommy.
both abuse and child abuse and underage.
But I felt bad. But have you ever seen a drunk basset hound?
Not that I can recall.
Back in the floor, believe me.
Anybody else seen a drunk basset hound?
Oh my gosh.
What does a drunk basset hound look like?
Well, think about it while I let this little one in.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's not drunk, I hope. He's drunk. Oh, we'll have to figure out what happened.
There he is.
Here comes Shockwave. He had a grand old time. I wonder if he has eaten any food up.
Did you get him any presents?
No, I didn't give him anything.
You get any toys?
Why? He's
Because
got toys all day long. And
they deserve a Christmas too.
Jake got a new sweater.
See?
Well, look at his. He gets them year round.
Yes, he does. My dogs do not like to wear stuff like that. Oh my gosh. And I was going to tell you.
Jake was prancing with his.
Oh, I bet he
and
was.
Shockwave loves this one because he's
Yes.
got that little knot in the top.
Well, I ended up adopting one of those dogs that had been dumped recently.
Right.
And this is not the group that the Onslow County Animal Services went in and rescued from a house. This is a large amount of dogs that were dumped in cycles and in different areas from whoever owned them. So, all the dogs are related in a cousinly way, but they're up to 45 that they have rescued.
Oh, Lord.
I think there's one more or two more that they're trying to capture, but up to 45, the Adoption First Animal Rescue, up to 45 that they have captured. They
still have some folks that they need to adopt these or find foster homes, right?
Yes, they do. In fact, we'll have somebody on in a week or two, but I fostered him first. Of course, like my daughter said, was a pure foster failure because she knew I was going to end up keeping that dog.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was up for adoption, I adopted him. And every one of these animals that they are taking in, they are neutering or spaying. They are also giving them their shots, checking for heartworm, everything. So when I actually adopted him, everything's done. So I'm going to put him on a regular puppy plan here in January. But 45. Yeah, is that enough?
How many came from one place? All 40?
All 45.
45 from one spot.
From one spot.
That's
And
just
they're
not right.
still trying to capture a couple more. And they were dumped in different areas in the city.
Not right.
I hope they take that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope, I can't even begin to say what I want to say.
Yeah.
We'll get kicked off of every network around the world, but because.
Oh, we already had been. We got a few to go. That's right. I mentioned Stone Ponies.
Yeah, Stone Ponies.
Okay.
Go ahead. Tell me about the Stone.
Remember this song?
Yes, I do.
You and I travel to the beat of a different drum. Oh, can't you tell by the way I run?
Known as the Stone Ponies at the time. But you know who that is?
It sounds.
It's in the 60s. Linda Ronstadt.
Oh my gosh! I would have.
See, You
You're
never would have
talking.
known it, would
That's
you?
way too long ago for me. Well, I was just a kid then, anyway. So, but
Well, anyway.
I loved the Monkees.
The Monkees.
Well, everybody was following the Beatles. I was following the Monkees. I just like the
understand.
Monkees.
No,
I was not a big Beatle fan.
Did you ever see the movie The Monkees?
Are we
not.
talking like real monkeys, or are we talking about the band?
The Monkees band.
I think I remember it was really a stupid movie because it was
It
not.
was a stupid
Yeah,
movie.
yes,
There's no doubt about it.
yes. And they used to have a show. Seemed like they had a show.
were
That's what it was. I
ridiculous.
watched
That was absolutely the dumbest thing
You
I've
look
ever
back
seen.
at television in the 60s and 70s, and then you go back and watch an old show like that.
Oh, my
And you're
Lord.
like, good
Uh-huh.
Lord, because television has come so far.
It has.
True and fairy tales. And for someone else, but not for me.
Yep.
Our love was out to get me. That's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams.
And
Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer.
See, now you know all that.
Yes. I was a monkey fan. I followed the monkeys. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, there's all sorts of old stuff from those days. It's a lot of fun to go back and listen to them. And
But boy, has TV changed. Just like if you've never seen Yellowstone, prepare yourself, because the things that you see and you things that you've heard 10 years ago, they would have been banned from showing. Oh yeah.
Well,
But-
and you know what? The
Landman.
landman, I call it landmine, but
Yes.
the landman is I'm going to classify it so far as Yellowstone with a little bit more class.
Yellowstone-
not nearly as much brash stuff, but a little
Yellowstone
subliminal.
2.0.
Yeah.
Click 2.0 for those that know what I'm talking about.
Oh, bang.
Yes, Click 2.0. Yeah, that's really a very interesting show. It's good. I love it. Of course, Billy Bob Thornton.
He
Who
makes that
can-
one.
He,
Oh.
of course, he does. He does. He does a great job. But yeah, TV, and it's even you're seeing on the television news with the commentators now,
Yeah.
cussing here and there,
Oh, yeah, I
and
know.
making
I know.
remarks, and I'm like,
Politicians,
oh,
political candidates, the president.
oh,
I mean, Truman,
right.
when she took over as president and then
Right.
was elected. But Truman was a bit of a cusser, but they just didn't get out there in front of
See if I can
TV.
find-
But now it's kind of like common thing. My God.
There is, our friend Charlie that calls.
Yeah. Where is Charlie? Why aren't you awake,
He said
Charlie?
he was going to be for about a week or so. Kinzinger. I'll tell you about him
Kissinger.
in a moment. No, this is Kinzinger.
Kinzinger.
He's a congressman. But excuse me. He told us about this one man that goes by the name Cat Turd.
Yes.
So, and he's on X. So I started reading some of his stuff, and then there were several media interviews with him on podcasts, and Tucker did one. And the guy doesn't give his name because he's had death threats and stuff like that. But you talk about
How's that going to stop a bullet?
he's very interesting. But Mr. Cat, I'm going to call him Cat T. Mr. Cat T had gone on X and made some remarks about Kinzinger, and who is I believe he's a congressman. But yeah, he is. But Mr. Cat T evidently disagreed with him over some stuff and made comments on his X page. Well, this
Kissinger.
Kinzinger, yeah,
Kissinger.
Kinzinger.
Yeah,
His name is Adam. We're going to
Kinzinger.
call him Adam. Okay.
Hey, Adam.
Because I keep wanting to say Kissinger. But Adam, they showed him doing an interview, and the language coming out of this man's mouth over what somebody said about him on Twitter or X. Let it go.
Why? Who cares what they say about you?
I was sitting there, I was like, ugh.
First of all you're doing is providing notoriety to an individual that probably doesn't deserve it.
I mean, he threatened Mr. Cat T, said, I'm going to meet you outside somewhere. We're going to do it. He made all sorts of unveiled threats, but his language was just like, I would think the ethics committee for the U.S. Congress would
No.
take him inside and say,
Why?
you know,
Every one of them does it.
oh, man.
They all do it. For the well, I won't say all. Many of them do it. It's kind of commonplace.
My page froze, so that's why I'm having a hard time with everything here.
Well, turn the heater on. It'll warm.
He is, excuse me, I'm so itchy. This Congress guy is a GOP member of the Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack.
Yeah.
So, Mr.
That is
Cat T,
4 almost years ago.
I know.
The bottom of this investigation, I know cold cases that they got more information and they come to a resolution.
I can't give you all the stuff on it because the pages froze. But of course, it could be from a bad news place anyway. It could be a scam. Let me exit
That
out of
could
that
be it.
page. I don't trust pages. I don't know. But oh, yeah, it was brutal. And that made a lot of news. Oh, I'm offline. Why am I offline?
I don't know
I don't
because
know
somebody
either.
unplugged your line.
Oh, it's restored now. Okay, good. I hope it didn't knock us
Good.
off anything else.
You need to get yourself a new computer for your birthday or something.
Anybody who would like to buy me a new laptop for my birthday, I'll call me. I'll tell you what I want. But I know we're good.
I know.
This
I
is
know what
just-
you can do.
This one's been good. It's
So as soon as I mute the mics,
oh gosh. No.
oh well. No, that was just funny.
But yeah. I mean, I've been, Charlie, if you're listening, I've been investigating. He lives in West Florida.
Maybe
He's a veteran and
of what?
of the services, military
Ours?
services. Yeah, he's an American, and he did his,
Well, he could have been an American serving in Iran for the Iranians,
he
or
was a member of the
Israel.
U.S.
military.
military
Okay.
services, got injured, got his back messed up, ended up being honorably discharged. Went on, he talks about he went on to be like a hippie, drove the minivan, the Volkswagen van,
How
had the
old
long
is
hair. He's 60, I think he said 62, something like
he?
that.
I don't think they had hippies of those days.
And he said that he had the long hair, he did the drugs, he did the alcohol, he went through all that phase.
You didn't have
He
to
went
be a
from
hippie
job
do
to
that.
job to job. And he said, no, he says, I was a true hippie. Lived, was homeless for a while. But it's an
As a-
interesting
as a
story.
bum, in other words.
Interesting story and how he's turned his life around. But he said he doesn't do social media, but one day he opened a Twitter account back when it was Twitter, and he's pro-Trump. And so he would make X posts, which irritated some people. But now he has to be private about his real identity because he's been swatted like 3 times at his home in Florida. 3 times.
Prove it.
Oh no,
Since you can't have his, he won't give his name, right?
well, I'm not gonna.
So how do we verify that?
Well, I'm not going to verify anything he's got to say, but this guy is interesting to say the least. But when he got this Congressman Adam all bothered and just irate over his X post, and I watched it, and the guy went off the rail. And for a congressman, knowing that you're being taped and it's going to be shown everywhere, man, show some decorum. It was bad. It was bad.
Okay, by the mid 1970s, the hippie movement was disappearing.
All right.
By the early 1980s, it was pretty much gone.
Mhm.
So this guy's 62 now.
He's 60 something.
Okay.
Maybe I know it's 60 something.
Okay. Well, I guess he could have been a leftover, maybe a wannabe. But
Hey, I've still got some hippies in my family.
The hippie movement was
Never
pretty
be.
well dead.
Right.
But whatever.
Interesting. But it was that was my entertainment the last couple of days, watching a lot of this stuff and seeing a lot of it and preparing what's up. No, Megyn Kelly, who used to be on Fox News and has her own podcast now. Let me tell you what, she got a little bit of a potty mouth.
Yeah, she does.
On her YouTube stuff, but I like a lot of what she says, though. She's very smart.
I don't watch her.
It's her opinion,
Sure.
of course,
Got no
but
problem with that.
she changed my attitude towards her from a couple years ago when she was on Fox and got into it with Trump.
Mhm.
But now they're friends, and she even appeared at one of his last rallies promoting him. And but you've got to watch Megyn Kelly on YouTube, and let me tell you, it gets interesting.
Okay, what else is cooking out there? 910-333-0139. Where are y'all? Where are y'all? We haven't heard from Theo in quite some time.
No, we
I
haven't.
just got a little
No.
bit worried about him. So
Well, he goes through
he does.
a little bit.
Maybe Timmy
sometimes.
knows, and if Timmy's out there listening.
Yes.
Timmy's probably out there driving, trying to make up for lost time or something, right?
Right. Yeah, he's working. I think I had asked him, and he said he was working the day after Christmas.
Mhm.
It's so weird with Christmas being in the middle of the week. Yesterday, I was thinking it was Sunday all day long.
I did too.
I was just like,
I-
oh,
My. I guess John Benet Ramsey's dad
yes. I was just
is
reading.
supposed to be having a big meeting with the police right after the first of the year. For you, a lot of you folks don't. I know you remember the name, even if you weren't born then. It's been 28 years. 28 years.
Right.
She would have been 34 years old now. John Benet Ramsey, little sweetheart.
Mhm.
Mama kind of forced her into beauty pageants and stuff like that.
Right.
Dressed her up made her up, dressed her up to
Like a
look
little
like
doll.
and act like a little short, real person who was maybe in her 20s, right?
Right.
That's what she looked like.
Yes.
She kind of acted, but she put on that act as well too. So,
Mhm.
but it was a shame, and I've been to those pageants, and I don't like them. I just don't like
I
them.
feel like children like that are exploited.
If they do it, if you go enter one for fun, for school, or for whatever, and that's cool, you do it. But if you get hooked on it, and the mama gets hooked on it, that's the problem. In the way I see it, they get hooked on it, then they go through the toddler, the infant, or the infant, the toddler, the junior miss, the yada 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 yada. They can be bothersome.
Do you think they'll ever solve this?
I think it's already been solved, but we just haven't seen an arrest. There are a lot of crimes that have been solved, but we don't have an arrest and may never get an arrest. So
Right.
I don't know. John Ramsey says he's going to meet. Of course, his wife is dead. She passed away a few years ago.
Yes.
The thing was 28 years ago. Over
Mhm.
Christmas 28 years ago. That's always got to be something for the real innocent people out there. Woke up, found a little girl missing. Couldn't find her Christmas morning. Called the police. There were so many stupid errors committed by the police and everybody else at the time. They searched the house supposedly, or at least went through the house. Couldn't find her. She's just gone. And they had extensive searches going on elsewhere else, and everybody cried wolf. And then John was leading the police through. He says, "Let's go down to the basement again. Let's go check it out." And they go down there and they do a quick cursory exam. And he said, "Did you look under that or whatever it was?" And there she was. The body was there.
That's just, I know there
The house was loaded with the media, with police, with neighbors and everything else. In other words, there was no crime scene. It was all tainted. It was the worst case of a botched anything. First thing you do is in law enforcement, you got a situation like that, you isolate everything. I don't care what, I don't care what, first of all, parents, they're going to be the prime suspects.
It's
Not
always
real, but the prime people to eliminate. People don't understand it. When you start taking fingerprints from people at the crime scene, why are you doing this? Am I a suspect? No, we're just eliminating you from being a suspect. That's the whole purpose in it.
right.
Process of elimination. And that's one of the key elements, key things that cops do and everybody else does. When you're working on something at your house, including your electrical problems, you eliminate everything else, right? And then you narrow it down to something, and then there you go. There's your answer. So if you eliminate everybody else, then you're good.
Yeah, it's just like if you find the husband dead, who's the first suspect? The wife,
That's gonna be the
and
wife
vice
or her lover.
versa. I mean, you always start with those that were at the scene, and that would be the family.
It's common practice for cops to suspect based on
Right.
experience.
Right.
But in reality, what they're doing is eliminating them
Right.
one at a time. They will eliminate the most obvious one first, or
Right.
arrest him or her.
Right.
But in the process of elimination, quite often they find the right person. Sometimes
Well,
they just fess up.
That's just like that Karen Reed case that I'm still following because
Oh,
she's got to
Lord.
be retried. What even done it, even if she had, the investigation was so botched. As a juror, I could never find her guilty.
Mhm.
First of all, where they found the body was on the lawn of a cop. They never went to the door of the cop's house and said, "Hey, do you know anything? Hey, this guy was allegedly at your house earlier. What can you tell us?" Never went to his door to do an interview or
Why
investigation.
would a cop leave the body of somebody he killed on his lawn?
Well, the whole
That would be
thing,
the first question I would ask, is part of my thinking.
was crazy because of a snowstorm. There were snow plows out later in the night.
Uh-huh.
But the speculation is that a fight broke out in the basement where they have all the workout equipment. He fell, hit his head, or got hit with something, and they went around the back of the yard through the side and threw his body on the ground there.
Why would you do that? Is if you're a cop, you know they're going to find it, and they know the crime scene is not going to be there where they find the
But
body.
see, that's just it. The investigators that were all friends with the cop who owned the house, they never once went inside the house, went to the door and said, "Hey, do you know anything?" And the cop, and at 4:00 in the morning, you've got all these ambulances, all these cop cars, lights are blaring, sirens and everything. And the cop who owned the house said, "Oh, I didn't hear anything." And his front bedroom window faces the yard, and it's a small
Maybe
yard.
he was out partying that night.
And he had a German Shepherd also in the house that, the dog would have at least
I don't know.
barked.
Did he? Some dogs are under
Well, the
control.
dog
They
was
don't.
rehomed before the whole thing went to trial.
Mhm.
And everybody that had phones, when they were given a court order by the defense to, they went through the process to get the phones. The day before they were supposed to turn the phones in, they all had gone down and gotten new phones.
Yeah, well, so what were they looking for on the phones?
Communication,
You could get
because
that anyway.
the sister-in-law of the cop who lived in the house, they show on her phone records where she had Googled at 2-something in the morning, how long does it take for someone to die in the cold? There's a whole bunch of stuff. But look, Rayford, when they went out there and they discovered the body and they took him to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. When the investigators finally came out hours after that, they used a leaf blower to blow the snow around to see if they could find anything pertinent. And then the blood that they did find in the snow, they put that in red Solo cups into a brown paper bag, which sat in an unlocked locker for several days before. The whole thing is bizarre. But see, I'm saying even if she had been guilty of it, which their theory is that the roads were icy. It was just starting to snow a little bit. He got out of the car. She stayed in the car. They had a disagreement. And
Is this the wife of?
No, this is the girlfriend of the Boston cop.
Okay.
So they're getting ready.
Wait a minute. No, hold on. Who was killed?
A Boston cop.
Okay, so he lived in the house?
No, he was there because
But the visiting cop's wife was with him at some event there?
the one that got killed.
Yeah.
That was his girlfriend.
Or
They all had been out at bars previously, drinking and partying.
Okay.
And it was said, "Oh, let's go over to my house." The cop that owned the house, "Come on over to my house and, we'll have some drinks or whatever. Why end this party now? Knowing there's a blizzard coming." Stupid. But anyway, so when they got to the residence, the girl, Karen, she really didn't want to go in because she didn't really know the people that well. And she felt like maybe they didn't like her. And so supposedly there was an argument, and he said, "Well, I'm going to go in and just tell him, hey, I'm not staying or whatever. And she waited and waited and waited for him to come back out, and he didn't come back out. So she said, screw it, I'm going home.
Mhm.
Well,
She took the car and went home.
the state's
Was his
theory
car?
is it was her car.
Okay.
The state's theory is that he'd gotten out of the vehicle, walked around towards the back. She went to take off. She gunned it or whatever, supposedly in reverse, hit him. He flew up in the air and went 30 feet into the yard. But they showed that she'd only gotten her speed up to 25 miles an hour, 27 miles per
She
hour.
was backing up and ran into him.
Yes. And she supposedly didn't know or whatever. And the story gets even more bizarre
I'd have to look at all the.
because they have video at 5 o'clock in the morning where she's backing out of his garage because he's not answering the phone. She doesn't know where he's at. They play all the voice messages that she had sent him saying, I know you're at some woman's house, blah, blah, blah. They were just having a bad moment in time at the time. But it showed her when she backed out of his garage, she actually backed into the corner of his vehicle because you could see his vehicle move. And then when she went to leave the driveway, and all this is on the Ring camera, you could see a tiny bit of a white from her right rear taillight, and which when she backed into his car, she apparently cracked it. But through the course of the investigation over days and days and days and days, more and more taillight kept disappearing and being found in the snow. The whole thing is bizarre. But the thing about it is, I don't see where they can ever find her guilty if she did hit him because their investigation was so bad.
So far, it sounds like it was really screwed up.
It was bad. And plus, the chief investigator for the case they've got phone messages from him where he's texting other guys and calling her all sorts of names, saying all sorts of nasty stuff about her. She's going to go down and all that. He's a chief investigator. He should not be texting his
Should
buddies.
not, but it happens.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
But the whole thing is
Highway
so bizarre.
patrolmen have gotten into trouble for that in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because look, if you're on the job and you're using your personal telephone, it actually belongs to them.
Yes, right. Anything that's said or done during that time belongs
That's
to
right.
whoever's paying you to be there.
That's right.
That's the way life is.
But I'm just talking about these different stories and investigations and watching live court cases on YouTube. It's crazy.
Anybody been fishing? I want to know where the
I
trout
want
are.
to go.
I want to go fishing. I want to go.
Saturday's a good day.
No, we'll see.
72.
I want to go fishing where the trout are. I want to go guaranteed to catch some speckled trout. And I don't want to go to the fish market.
Can you go to Newbern?
That's a long ways.
I have a friend that he's posting just like every other day. Catches.
So he lies, right?
No, he's showing.
Does he fish?
Yes.
He lies.
No, well, yeah, all
Okay.
fishermen like, but he's constantly showing where he's caught these big trout and stuff. He goes
Uh-huh.
up in Newbern.
How much? Show me that big trout again. How tall?
I mean, it was, it even had legs.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to ask him where.
No.
And yeah, he's
Don't do it on a public post.
no. I'll text him quietly with my phone.
Okay.
But he's a really nice guy, and if he says this is where you go, I would believe it.
He's
I
a
will.
fisherman.
He does it as a side thing.
Yeah, but he's
for
a fisherman.
fun. Yeah, I know.
Okay, that's it.
Well, everybody likes
The marine
it.
forecast for the final week of 2024 brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. The
Right.
stress of getting ready for Christmas, buying and exchanging all those gifts, and then going back and taking them back, exchanging them for something you really want. Now, for many of us, comes the time to work on paying off those credit card bills that you racked up. There's one big stress for a large number of Americans: spending beyond their means. Thinking that the coming new year is going to give us the chance to start afresh is about as realistic as world peace at the Miss America pageant. Then before you know it, those utility bills will come in. And I will tell you right now, we have had a cold December, colder than normal.
Yes.
That means you use electricity a lot more than normal.
Yes.
Forget about the lights. The good thing about Christmas these days is that your LEDs are on and they don't use much electricity.
True.
Don't forget that you'll get hit with your local property tax bills too. Oh yeah, Happy New Year. It just never seems to end.
I think we already got those, didn't
We got the bills, but we ain't paying them until January
mine goes
20th,
through
as
my
most
mortgage.
people do. It just never, we never reach an end. There's
Right.
always bills after bills after
That's
bills.
true.
And we keep racking them up, adding
Way of
to the
life.
pile. For those on fixed incomes, retirement plans, or Social Security, you may see a cost of living increase for you this year, what they call a COLA, cost
little
of
bit.
living adjustment, less than 3% in this year for 2025 for Social Security. Anybody out there think they can get along with the same amount of money that you used last year with a 3% increase, which by the time you add it up comes out to be about what, $3 a year?
Yes.
Financial stress is a real thing for Americans. The extremely small percentages of rich people in this country who don't concern themselves with those sorts of issues, they don't really care. They don't need to worry about it. The numbers are very small. There are not that many really, really rich people in this country. We can't do anything about the big bills. You can try to cut back. And there may be some management plans to explore that you might be able to find some help with managing what you already owe. What you can do is to work on the stress levels. Some of that may include financial management, but the first thing is to seek counseling to help. You might want to start with Community Prevention Services right here. Their staff of trained and experienced counselors can help you work with controlling your stress while you get help with the financial issues. Give the team a call at your earliest convenience. You may as well get the year started right. Community Prevention Services will open next Monday and Tuesday, and then will resume regular weekly hours on Monday the 6th. Their number is 910-353-0972. If it'll make you feel better, you can call them now and leave a voicemail. I don't know how many voicemails they'll have, or you can wait until next Monday morning and give them a call. 910-353-0972. Set up a time to meet. A cool high-pressure system is moving in from the north and will remain in place through the remainder of this week. The high will shift offshore by the weekend as a frontal system approaches and brings unsettled weather Sunday into Monday. Offshore, out to 20 nautical miles, a small craft advisory is in effect through this evening. Northeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots, gusts to 30, seas 3 to 5 feet, except 2 to 3 near shore. Sounds and rivers are choppy. Northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots on Friday, seas 2 to 4, sounds and rivers are moderate chop. Saturday, southeasterly winds 5 to 10 knots, seas 2 to 4, sounds and rivers are light chop.
Okay, and we have Chris calling, Chris Marks. But today is partly sunny with a high near 55, northeast wind 5 to 8 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 36. Friday, partly sunny with a high near 62. Friday night, partly cloudy with a low of 46. And Saturday, beautiful day, a slight chance of afternoon showers, partly sunny, but with a high near 62.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Before we get to Chris here, a real
summertime.
quick look here. Should all acquaintance be forgot? Maybe at some
Yeah.
places, but certainly not at Captain Bob Beck's Marina Cafe,
Oh,
the
yeah.
only waterfront restaurant in Jacksonville. Seafood, burgers your way, a southern delicacy, delicious hush puppies. With a brand new year coming into full bloom, whether you're from around these parts or you're a new arrival, Bob Beck's Marina Cafe is the perfect place to ring in 2025. Get the new year started right. Celebrate with great food, drinks, and friends on New Year's Eve. Bob and the crew want to wish one and all a glorious and prosperous new year. Marina Cafe just across the bridge on South Marine Boulevard. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great, Rayford Lee. Happy day after Christmas.
Yay.
I'm not sure what it's called other than day after Christmas. Maybe there's an official title.
I think it's Boxing Day.
It's Friday Eve today.
Well, it is.
I think it's Boxing Day, actually, to be honest with you.
In Canada.
It's Boxing Day. There are a lot of places to
Oh, is
celebrate it. Yep. Down in
Who are you going to
Jamaica.
box today?
What am I going
Rayford, who are
to
you going to box?
probably a cardboard box or maybe a paper bag.
Putting all the trash out.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas, a very safe Christmas, and I got to tell you, for Wreaths Across America, and especially Reese honoring our fallen
So-
veterans. It was the Monday after the 14th that you first talked on the show about starting for 2025. Now, tell people about your show again. You don't need me to keep bragging about your show, but I will, because the listeners have come through. The people that read my Facebook post have come through. We are already, Reese honoring our fallen veterans. We're 110% over our goal already.
Yeah, that's a heck.
So,
The total so far at the Coastal State Veterans Cemetery is 183. Our group has 120.
Oh, okay.
wonderful.
So we are running. We're off and running, but and I know that after Christmas people are taking gifts back. So you may be getting you may be getting some money back. And so don't forget that right now, if you go to Reese Honor Our Fallen Veterans, NC0611, if you Google Reese Across America, Jacksonville, North Carolina, it comes up now to just a generic page. So, Lee, if you remember last week, you were mentioning it came up to specific sites.
Right.
It no longer does that. It's just generic. So if you go up into the top right-hand bar at the top of the page and hit the little eyeglass, type in NC0611, you'll be able to go directly to our link. And in that link, you can get 5 wreaths. Everybody, 5 wreaths for $34.
It's wonderful.
It's beautiful. It's just so glorious. And I'll be letting you. January, we have some fundraisers coming up, including one restaurant that's going to do 20%.
Oh, yeah, good.
You let me know. I'll be there.
We will do that, and then we're going to have a bike ride in May.
Okay.
Now, I was thinking we should do a fishing tournament, Rayford, and have you kind of be the weighmaster and stuff.
Yeah, I can weigh them. I got scales.
I can weigh them.
I got official scales.
Okay. Well, it takes 2 people, I think, to make it official. So you 2 could be the weightmasters.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, Rayford can't if he's going to fish it.
No, I don't want to fish it.
Oh, you don't want to? Well, Rayford, I help Rayford. We'll be weightmasters.
There you go. And
she was a weigh mistress. I'll be the weigh master.
What?
long time.
She's a weigh mistress.
We were a different cable company back then, but we had a bass fishing tournament, and it was at Marina Cafe.
Yep.
Bob didn't own it back then, but it was really a great turnout. And
they have all sorts of fishing tournaments out of there right now. The Big Red tournaments. They have some trout tournaments, I think. I know some freshwater bass tournaments are held in the area.
That's
you could come up with something like that.
Yes, that's a good.
Or you could come up with something really quaint like a kids tournament.
That's a good idea, Chris.
That's good. Yeah.
A veterans tournament.
That'll give me another reason to go to Marina Cafe.
Yeah, we could sit there and watch the Gators in the summertime.
Sit there and eat
and fight Joe Jack.
No, I'll be bringing a cage for him.
I've never bass fished myself.
I haven't either.
But I got on a boat. I don't know if y'all remember Jacksonville Printing Company.
I do.
Yes, right there on New Bridge Street. Were they on New Bridge?
Well, actually, he was on Gum Branch Road at one point.
Yeah.
I think that was
something was downtown at
Minuteman or something. I don't remember. It's Minuteman now if they're still there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think.
But while the tournament was going on, we were riding around in his boat, and I had put my jacket on the back of the back seat. And
never to be seen again.
Keys to the vehicle were in it. And later on, I looked and the jacket was missing, and of course the keys were missing with it, which is where the prize money was. Somewhere down in the New River. Yeah.
You're not going to be in charge of that.
Was it ever found?
No, not that I'm aware of. But the money, we got the spare keys, and we were able to pay off people. But,
okay. So the money did go overboard.
Yeah, and I almost did when he found my boss found out what happened. But hey, things things happen, but I trust that you two had a good Christmas.
Had a great one. Hope you did.
Wonderful.
I had a little fight last night.
You didn't tell me about the fight.
What's that? Say the best for
I'll let
last.
y'all hear it.
All right.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a fight. I had an invasion in here. Managed to a couple of critters were in the house.
What?
Not these are wild critters. They were in this house. Wild critters were in this house last night.
Are you
But
speaking squirrels?
Nope, no squirrels. Squirrels don't come out at nighttime. This was about 9:00 last night.
What?
Oh,
My only question is, are they gone?
They're secured.
Because
They're no longer with us.
oh.
I
Yeah.
rendered them
I
dead.
know what that means.
I rendered them dead.
Okay, all right.
You know what they were?
No, I just I'm afraid.
You don't even want to know, do you?
I don't know that I want to know.
My daughter,
Oh,
her husband, and my granddaughter, they decided they were going to get me something for Christmas to surprise me.
Oh,
So they brought it
okay.
over.
Were they live?
Yes,
things?
yes,
Do they have like legs and?
yes.
And what? I got to hear this. I have to hear this.
Hamsters. Hamsters.
Wrong.
Yes.
Oh, I remember when I brought a hamster from Kmart and didn't tell my mom, and it got out of the shoebox in the closet. There was pandilarium anyway.
Yeah.
So finish the story.
Well, I got the pot out. You know, any wild critters to me, it's kind of like roadkill. I'm going to cook it and eat it, right?
Was it lobster?
Yeah, 2 lobsters.
I knew it because I know she gets you lobster.
Did I have you going good there?
Yes, you did.
No, I was about to.
I was just
I'm
picturing.
about to just like put my feet up in this chair over here.
She brought me 2 live lobsters, and last night after
Oh,
eating
see?
all, I didn't know that's what it was there because I wouldn't have eaten as much as I did at noon.
I love crab, but I can't stand like the blue crabs. How you catch them and you put them in a cooler, and then you take them and just throw them in the hot water.
I don't do that.
And they're like the I can't stand.
I don't do that. But for the lobsters, y'all, I know a lot of people like to boil them and all that sort of good stuff. I just take them. I got a big pot, and I get the steam going,
Right.
and I put them in there. And if they're under 1.5 pounds, if they're 1.5 pounds or smaller, I set the timer for 17 minutes on a big head of steam in the pot. Throw
Right.
those suckers in there. 17 minutes later, they come out, and a few minutes after that, with the butter that's melted, and we're eating.
Do you cut the tail portion off? I mean, and put that, or do you steam the whole thing?
Steam the whole thing.
Well, what do you do with the head when you take it out?
Oh, it depends upon what we're in the mood for. But there are the claws. We take the claws off, pop the tail out, and then
But is there any meat in the claws?
lots of meat in the claws.
How about meat in the head part?
Yeah, there's some.
Well, why would you want to eat that?
Because it's good.
Okay.
You get some crackers and dip all that.
Oh God Almighty! Ugh.
No, they got all these little legs on there,
Eyeballs.
though. They got
Yeah.
the tiny little legs on there. Oh, you can pop those and just suck that stuff right out of them. It's meat. It's regular
like
meat.
you crazy people that cook crawdads and suck the meat out of those. It's just disgusting. Oh.
I got some up in the freezer.
No, I just, you're looking down at the little dead feet, little dead head, and you're popping them apart and sucking the
You
stuff.
know what's worse?
I'm just like, oh, I don't know.
I saw a closed circuit feed from an ABC affiliate somewhere, and they were having a contest. I mean, it was one of those like
Were they eating real ones?
You have mullet contests,
Yeah.
and contests. You have mullet festivals and spot
Right.
festivals, stuff like that. They had a crab festival, and they had this one dude, this old joker with most of his teeth, none of them visible
Right.
in the pictures when he was smiling. He would take a live one up there, the claws and everything, and he bit into it, and that crunch
Oh,
and the juice that fell out of his mouth
Oh,
and
God.
trickled down.
oh, Jesus. What's wrong with
I'm
you
like,
people?
really?
Look, I'm a Southern
even-
gal,
even
and I'm
me.
pretty laid back, but I can't.
Even me,
I
the
have my
crunch.
limit.
The crunch was what got you.
Oh, God.
How's that sound for a descriptive?
That's like,
Can you picture that one?
you talk about the
Yeah.
crunch, like those great big water bugs, and they run across your floor,
Oh,
and I cannot step on them because the crunch just makes me
you know what's
sick.
worse than that?
What?
My shoes. I used to take my shoes off down at another house, And I went to put them on the morning to leave, and I put my foot down, and it's like, oh, crunch! Oh, you've got to be kidding me! Inside the shoe.
How did we get here?
I'm trying to. I think it was about the Reach Across America fundraiser.
I know. How did we get here, Chris?
People better be donating, or I got more stories to tell.
You started it with the 2 live vermin, and I'm just.
Well, that's true, Rayford. You.
Well, they were.
Oh God. Okay.
I am. It's actually this is fun because you've covered now a cooking show, so you got new segments to do cooking, and of course you have guests on that handle doctors and.
I feel chest pains.
Yeah, I mean,
Chest pains.
Maybe I could get the medical examiner in here one morning.
But
Oh, God.
anyway,
Dr. Gable was here, I would.
Oh yeah.
I'm very as serious as I can be after all that.
Yeah, go for it.
No, it's just again my heartfelt thanks to Live and Local Real Talk for giving me this opportunity. You don't have to, but you do to speak about Reese Honor Our Fallen Veterans, and I've got now. I'm going full blown. I got business cards coming in, and so I'm doing something, and it's not really going to the veterans. It really is going to go to the veterans.
Y'all wait till next year. Wait till next December on or about the 14th. You guaranteed you're going to see the results.
Yes.
I guaranteed 7,000 Reese, and I'm going to make sure I'm sorry, 7,000, and if we need 7,000, there will be 7,000.
Yeah, there will be 7,000, but I'm going to buy one separately in addition to,
Right.
so I can pick it up and take it out to one of the other locations.
Yes.
And
You can do that. Yes.
depending upon whether there's one that's needed in Wilmington, I will be going there too.
Right. Very good.
That's beautiful. And people, you can do that. There's many options. You can buy matching pairs so that one is delivered to Coastal State Veteran Cemetery, one's delivered to your house.
Oh, really? Okay, that's what I want.
Oh, yes. And they're fresh. And on one of my Facebook videos, I'm going to actually post how they make them, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
Yeah.
Maybe we ought to take a show on the road and go up there and watch them next fall.
Watch them do where?
Put the Reese together up in Maine. I mean, they got great lobster up there too.
They have an event that Kathy and I'll be going to. It's a big celebration that Reese has in July, and maybe you can take the show on the road and report from there, and you'll get some great interviews, and Rayford, you'll get your lobster.
Yum yum.
And you'll be able to kill some more critters, and I'll tell you a story of your critter killing on Christmas Day.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, my thanks to both of you and to Kelly and the program for allowing me to speak about this worthy cause. And again, to businesses, you may still be closed today, or maybe you have a lot of people coming back with Christmas gifts. People think about regifting that gift to Reese Honoring Our Fallen Veterans.
Absolutely.
There you go. That's a very good suggestion.
Did you have a great day? I'll be seeing you soon.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to
thanks,
it. Thanks,
Chris.
Chris.
Take care.
Bye. If you guys do want to, if you're moved, and I hope you are, either now or through the 17th, do it before the 17th. That's kind of like the cutoff. If you buy through Chris's site, and you can find his site on our Facebook page, we posted there regularly. You do it there. You donate 2 wreaths. There's $34 for 2 wreaths.
That's
okay.
right.
So let's get this out of the way right up front. That would be $17 a piece. That's cheap. You donate 2 wreaths, $34. And then 3 more wreaths show up. So in addition to the 2 that you donate for $34, it's not 2, it's 5. Well, so let me see if I can do the math here. 5 into $34 is less than $7 a piece.
That's true.
Now there's $17 a piece regularly.
True.
$17 or 7. You make the decision. That is, even for those of us who may be mentally challenged at times, and some of you who are mathematically challenged, $17 for one or 5 for $7 each. Let me think about that. There you go. Time's up.
Yes. Well, you know what? What would be nice if you do it and get this? You're technically buying 2, getting 3 free. Okay. Technically, that's what it is. You have till January 17th to purchase
It needs
this.
to be finished before the 17th.
Right,
So
exactly. And then you can, like, as the year goes on, you have an extra buck here or there, buy another one.
yeah, get another $34.
And hopefully he will be on that program where you buy 2, get 1 free.
Sure.
So 2 is $34. I mean, how can you not? And, you know, we harp on this so much on this
Yes,
show.
we do.
This is a veteran community. This is a military community. And we take a lot of things for granted being non-military growing up here. Well, I was a military child, but still, I mean, and you know, we honor our military, but we don't come out like we should to really show our support during times like this. And, you know, we have close to 200,000 people living in Onslow County.
220-ish.
Yes. And just think if everybody bought 1 reef, or if you know some, I mean, just if half of us bought 2 reefs or something,
Yeah.
the amount of reefs. And so you can still collect money after the reef ceremony
Yeah, absolutely.
because they will put that towards next year.
That's the point. That's what we're doing now.
And when you purchase a reef, you can do it honoring someone,
Mhm.
which goes on the Reefs Across America's wall.
Uh-huh.
And you can see right there where in the person doesn't have to be already in the cemetery. You've got your military neighbor that lives next door to you that gets out and mows your yard for you all the
You
time.
put it in his
You
honor.
put it in his honor. There's so many
veteran,
ways.
anybody. How about honoring, a congressman from years ago, or a current congressman, or
Right.
a senator, or somebody that really has gotten you going? How about honoring? Okay, let's go, Ronald Reagan. You like
That's
that?
right.
Put it in his name. They'll put it up there. Put it in his name. It'll
Right.
go out here, remembering Ronald Reagan
Exactly.
or John Wayne. What do you know? What's on John Wayne's tombstone?
I don't recall.
It's simple. John Wayne, American.
I like that.
Done.
It's just we don't show up for the Veterans Parade like we should.
Nope.
We don't show up for that. And like I said, during the month of October was the Yellow Ribbon Month. We did ours here. November.
We did pretty well this year on the Veterans Parade.
Yes, I would say
Well,
it was probably better than
before.
it was one of the best in
Yep.
the most recent years. And kudos to Rolling Thunder for what
Oh,
they did.
yeah.
My gosh.
Roll on.
Yes. But November is the green light month.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a green porch light? Did you have a green candle in the window? I'm going to tell you what, the military made this town. My opinion, they made this town. If Camp Lejeune was to close and move away, what would be left here?
It would be a town today, but it would not
Yes.
be a city.
Right.
In 1940
Mhm.
census, I think the population was 700 in the city limits of Jacksonville.
Yes.
Holly Ridge was bigger.
And that's where it all started from. It all started from that Holly Ridge area. Wasn't
Holly Ridge
Stump
was a boom.
Sound considered the county seat at that time?
I don't know that.
Mm.
Watton's Ferry was, I think, right?
Yes.
Down
Yes.
down the river a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
So, because of my great whatever, he I've just got his law book around here somewhere. He was a magistrate here in Onslow County at that time.
Right.
Yeah, and he was actually held court.
1941.
1941 is when the base moved
Yes.
in.
In the spring of 1941, plans for the construction
Yep.
of the base on 11,000 acres of land in Onslow County
Mhm.
was approved.
Mhm.
So that's when it was approved.
Yep.
And the base was named Camp Lejeune in honor of Lieutenant General John Archer Lejeune.
Well, actually, his name was Lejeune.
I know his family. I've met his family,
I met
and
his
they
gra-
say Lejeune.
Well, they do now, but
And
his
there's a big controversy over that. If you really research it,
great grandson called it on the air because I talked to him. Was great. The correct pronunciation is Jean A. Lejeune. It's not Lejeune or Lejeune.
well, it is debate that everyone will argue with forever and ever and have different
wrong.
opinions. But
They're all wrong.
I know my father was very involved in promoting the correct name also. And I mean, I can produce television interviews. This one guy out of Hawaii that was very instrumental. And like I say, it's a very decisive. It is. There's
Look at a fight.
just like Die Hard.
Die Hard
You know?
is, and matter of fact, they were promoting it yesterday.
Oh, they always
as
do
a Die
during
Hard,
Christmas.
as a Christmas movie.
Well, there's two different opinions. There's two different sides on it. There is like no, and there is like yes. And I don't mind that people have different opinions than I do. The only thing that bothers me is when somebody gets riled up and tells me I'm wrong. Why is my opinion wrong? Why is your opinion right? Or
My
vice
opinion is
versa.
right.
But
Well,
people
it is.
have a
Yours
right.
is right. And your mine?
Do what?
Yours is right in your mind. Mine's right in my mind.
That's right. His last name is not actually Barrows. It's Barrows.
Barrows.
But over the years and with the parents being gone and some of the family saying Barrows, I just adapted to that.
Guess what mine is?
Brown.
No, what was it before?
Right? I don't know. What was
Brown
it?
before, too. Brown now. Brown tomorrow.
Brown now. Well, it's just like, to me, it's not worth the argument with the other members of the family. So I just adapted to Barrows. But technically, my last name is Barrows. So, see, it's how
Can I
you...
borrow some?
No, Barrows with a A. How do you spell bar? You go get a drink at a bar.
Joint.
Yeah, Joint. What?
Yeah, let's go to the joint and get a drink.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you were talking drinking or smoking.
No.
Well, see, it's all an interpretation, and I'll never forget when his granddaughter or whatever came into the post office on the base, and I was station manager there.
Mm-hmm.
She got extremely upset because the clerk argued with her and told her how she should be saying her name. And I'm like, why do you argue with anybody over anything? First of all, she was in tears. She was actually in
The clerk
tears.
or the granddaughter?
The family member.
Ah,
Because he went as far as to tell her, your name is not Lejeune, it's Lejeune. Why would you do that? Even if you think, if you feel like it's Lejeune, why would you argue with a family member? I've had people argue with me over my name.
you can, if your name is spelled Smith, it could be called Smythe. If that's what your choice is, you can do that.
Exactly. See, my northern family has always said Barrels. My mother and father have always said it is Barrows.
Now, Hans Miller would say my last name is Braun.
What does Miller mean, Braun? What?
No,
How do
Hans
you get?
Miller would say my last name is Braun.
Why?
Mine, Brown.
Oh, oh, yours.
Uh-huh.
I was like, how do you
All
get
I'll
that
say
out
is
of Miller?
Braun.
Okay. It's just
Some people call it Mud.
right. Why?
My last name.
That's not
They
nice.
just say I'm Mud.
That's not nice.
What
answer
what
to
does
my-
nice got to do with anything? That's just the way they feel.
But I've
have their
actually
opinion.
gone into public places where you had to give them your name,
Uh-huh.
and they'll actually say, I've had a lot of them say Barrows, and I just look at them like, wow. Yeah, I didn't even have to school them.
When I'm talking to folks in other parts of the world, and I do give them my first name, or they read it on the bio that's online,
Right.
and I did never have any of them pronounce it the way that I pronounce it.
Right. It's all
Sometimes that E is silent, is
Yes.
missing. It doesn't come out. It comes out in their mind, Raford.
Well-
And they pronounce it as in two different syllables. Rathford.
What if you had the E on the last of the name? Well, how would you pronounce it?
On the last of the
Brown with an E. I would still say Brown.
it is.
Well, how are you saying other people would pronounce it? Braun?
Braun, as in German, or
Right.
in French, Brun.
Okay.
Brun.
Well, what gets me is
Je m'appelle Monsieur Brun.
back when I went by Barrels all the time before I just accepted Barrels because it was easy for everybody. I would go into the doctor's office and say, "What's your name?" And I would say, Barrows.
Mhm.
And they would just in an instant, "Okay, Miss Barrows." And I'm like, "Did I not just say Barrows? Why are you correcting me?" I mean, I wouldn't say that to them. I would just go on, but it's amazing how people look and interpret things differently. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, but
I don't care. Get over it.
care either.
It's still Lejeune to me.
Mhm. To me,
In French, it's Lejeune.
it will always be Lejeune. Correctly to me.
Lejeune Fivia. That
To me,
means
it
young
would-
lady.
In fact, if I could get a hold of her, let's see if I can I think they moved from here many years ago.
Why her? Why not the grandson who called it Lejeune?
Well, it's easier for me to get a hold of her than him. Because we went to dinner with them. It was us. It was Dad. It
Them?
was my sister.
Yeah.
And Patrick.
Any members of your family, some of them call it Barrows and some of them call it Barrows?
This was the ones from up north. They said that Dad was wrong. I don't know.
See,
I'm just
sort of mean it varies even inside the
No,
family.
if I get hold of Patrick Brent, he was the huge historian
Yeah,
on
I
that. And he
understand
knew
that.
the family well.
Wah, wah.
But you know what? After they promoted it for a while, the base commanding officer started making everyone say Lejeune. And now over the years, it's kind of escaped back to Lejeune.
Now, at the last the Marine Corps ball that I went
Right.
to was about 4 years ago.
Right.
And the announcer, the PA announcer,
Mm-hmm.
never forget, he called it Lejeune. Now,
Right.
the CG popped up and he said, it's Lejeune. It's Lejeune. It's Lejeune, Marine. Just like that.
Well, I've seen just the opposite. And Patrick Fahey, that was the public affairs officer for so long.
Yeah.
I say Fahey. I'm not really sure how to say his last name. Fahey. He did a big segment on that and said it's Lejeune. See, so it goes back
It
and
depends
forth.
upon whoever is in charge at the time of our military, what they want to call
Well,
it.
originally
And
it was
how do they
Lejeune.
pronounce brag?
Right. How
Liberty.
Oh,
That's what the difference is. Okay,
I
we're
agree
done.
with you 100%. and Trump said he's going to have all that change back.
I heard that he specifically mentioned brag too.
Well, yeah.
That ought to be a mess in the making. Okay,
It's a lot of money wasted.
tomorrow's Friday, I think, right?
TGIF, yes. Today's Friday's Eve, so yes, Friday tomorrow, yes.
Do we have anyone tomorrow? We better, because
I will find somebody.
we need about 4.
Okay,
We need 4 people to fight.
let's start. Why? Have you got something in particular you want to talk about?
No, I just want to fight.
Okay. Now,
No, you don't. I got you, Rob.
because we're two this morning on names, but it's all right.
Well,
It's
guess
cool.
what? Guess who's right? Turn the mic down. I'm always right.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's differences of opinion. That's
So you
all.
mean you're left then? If you're not right,
Definitely not left.
so
I'm
you're-
middle, leaning towards the right.
What we call you is unright.
Well,
Okay, we're
We'll
done.
see. We'll see
We
how the
will
next
see
4
you
years
tomorrow
go.
morning. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Let's talk about a little speculation tomorrow about
All right.
how will the next 4 years. How do you folks out there? I mean, you'll have some time. You're left over from Christmas. I understand. How do you feel about the next 4 years? Realistically, whether you're Republican or Democrat or agnostic or even Southern Baptist, if you're
Right.
one of those, how do you think the next 4 years are going to unfold realistically? Good, bad, indifferent. What kind of changes do you think will actually be possible? Will we be better off next December than we are this December? are people going to be disappointed who are just so looking forward to Donald Trump taking over on January 20th? Do you think they're going to be really disappointed in some of the
It-
actions that occur?
It's going to take time, and people have to understand that.
We're short. We don't give people a lot of time.
But the thing about it is, you cannot reduce grocery prices in one day. It's going to take time after time, is because there's so many other
Executive order.
factors. Well, what are you going to do? Put out an executive order like, you chicken farmers, you can't raise eggs more than such and such, because a lot of issues that you have that people don't stop to think about is transportation of these goods. Transportation costs are so high.
Yeah, it's because of fuel.
That's right. So let's work on this, to work on that, to have the counter effect.
Let me
here.
ask you this then, but as we leave and go into tomorrow, for those who keep talking about harping on the price of fuel and everything,
Right.
and everything else relies on it, we hear our friend talks about it all the time. The cost of diesel fuel that was $4.50 or $4.75 a gallon a couple of years ago,
Yes.
it's not there now.
Right.
Have the prices come down?
Yes.
They have.
They're starting to
Or, I'm
come
not
down.
talking about on fuel. I'm talking about prices in the grocery store. Eggs are
No.
higher than ever.
I don't see where the prices have come down at all.
The price, you don't even want to know what the price was for that prime rib.
Oh, I can just about guess.
You probably can't. You would probably be off quite a bit. The prices for everything else.
Right.
Has anything come down? Remember when soup was only a quarter a can?
Now it's
can of Campbell's soup?
$1.79 a can.
On sale.
I just bought some recently.
Soft drinks.
tomato
I used
soup.
to buy 2-liter bottles for 75 cents or
Oh, yeah.
79 cents. Not
Mm.
that long ago.
Yeah.
If they were on sale, you could get them for anywhere from 75 to
Right.
95 cents a piece.
Right.
I'm just saying.
I'm
Have
just
the
saying.
prices come down on anything that you know since the price of diesel came down?
See, I will say that over the last 4 years, they've gone up, gone up, gone up, gone up. That's the trend.
But I have not seen any prices of any product that we are blamed on the price of fuel as coming down now that the price of fuel is down.
Oh, that's
So
an
let's
excellent
talk about it
point.
tomorrow, y'all.
Yes.
Told
Let's get it
you I
stirred
could
up,
throw
yeah.
grenades. Have a great rest of your day. We will see you in the morning. We will be awake then and not woke then and now and next year.
Yeah,
Have a
forever.
good rest of your day.